Hello, this is Patrick Riley, Liberty University. The following presentation was completed by using the ProQuest Central, ProQuest Historical Newspapers, and newspapers.com database. The main headline on September 17, 1862, was news of the horrific Battle of Antietam in Maryland. In the city of Pittsburgh, the battle news shared the page with a local tragedy. And here's the Pittsburgh paper in the center. This is the disaster I'm about to talk about, and this is news from Antietam. At 2 p.m. that day, Joseph Frick was returning to the laboratory at the Allegheny arsenal after delivering gunpowder. 3 barrels of powder sitting on a porch somehow ignited. The best theory for the explosion is that a steel horseshoe created a spark that ignited loose powder that was on the ground. This powder then ignited the barrels. The entire building was soon on fire, and barrels of gunpowder began to explode. Fire ignited hundreds of thousands of cartridges and artillery shells, and explosions rocked the building as it was engulfed in flames. The workers at the arsenal were all civilians, and almost all working that day were women. When the fires were extinguished, 78 people were missing and presumed dead. The grounds were strewn with burnt bodies, arms and legs, decapitated corpses, some found over 400 yards away. Body parts and clothing were found hanging in the trees. It was a horrific sight, and it was the largest loss of life in the city's history. The Allegheny Arsenal was built in the Lawrenceville section of the city in 1814. Lawrenceville is 2 miles from downtown Pittsburgh and sits on the bank of the Allegheny River. During the Civil War, Pittsburgh manufactured rifle barrels, gun parts, solid shot, exploding shells, howitzer shells, mortars, and cannons. In the month of March 1862 alone, the foundry cast 20,000 rounds of shot. One gun that was cast in Pittsburgh was the 20-inch Rodman, named after the commander of the Allegheny Arsenal, Thomas Rodman. This massive cannon could hurl a 1,080-pound ball over 5 miles. In 2020, a cache of cannonballs from the foundry were uncovered in the city during a construction project. One of the main jobs at the arsenal was making cartridges. It was originally thought young boys could do this job, but it was later felt that women were less likely to play around and were far better suited to the job than immature boys. That is why almost all of the casualties that day were females. And this is an illustration of the event recreated by artist and animator Jason Lanza on the 150th anniversary of the tragedy for the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review. And you see a timeline here, 2 p.m. Joseph Frick returns to the laboratory. 2:05 p.m. the fire has already started and soon engulfs the building next door. Miraculously, Joseph Frick survived the explosion. The remains that could not be identified after the calamity were buried in a common grave in the Allegheny Cemetery, and a marker with the names of the dead was dedicated on May 27, 1928. On the 150th anniversary of the tragedy in 2012, the community of Lawrenceville and the city of Pittsburgh hosted several memorial events to commemorate the tragedy. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless.